So, to start, I need to give some background. I'm a male who lives in a relatively nice neighborhood. It's your average small-town run-of-the-mill suburbs area with a lot of people there. I'm a college kid who's home on break while my parents have gone away, which doesn't help at all. I also have a 2-story house, and I don't have a gun, nor do I have any real weapons other than kitchen knives. I'm not on any medication, and I have no record of schizophrenia or any other mental illness. I barely have any relationships with my neighbors, most of whom are elderly, and the rest I have minimal contact with. I don't have any people in my neighborhood that I know of anyway who have any reason to attack or harm me too. So, let's get into what's happening. About 2 nights ago, I woke up very late in the night and I went to the bathroom to go and take a dump. Now, my 2nd-story bathroom has a window that can see the entirety of my backyard. But directly behind it is a cul-de-sac which you can see directly into. There's a group of trees and a pile of rocks and mulch that divides it. Usually I can see everything in my back room without turning anything on because lights from my neighbor's house dimly light the room. And as I'm using the toilet, I look outside and I notice there's a car parked directly facing my house in the cul-de-sac. Now, if you've ever seen a cul-de-sac before, you would know that when you park, you always either park next to the curves or the sides of the street. This car was directly facing the curve behind my house, though. I thought that this was pretty strange, considering whoever parked must have been there to visit someone. But if that were the case, then why would they not have parked in one of the driveways? The people who lived behind me were both elderly too, so they probably didn't have some big block party I didn't know about or anything, and even then, only an idiot would park like that. As I stared into the car, I could distinguish a figure in the driver's seat, just sitting there. Since the lights were not on in my bathroom, whoever was in the car probably couldn't see me through that window. At this point, I was determined to see who the fuck was in there, so I went downstairs and got my binoculars from my dad's closet and went back to my bathroom to see who was there. Keep in mind that this is 3 in the fucking morning, and, what person would be in their car just sitting there in the middle of the winter? Anyway, as I go into my bathroom, I looked outside to find nothing. The car had just since left. I thought it was a relief, seeing as I probably was just freaking out over nothing, and the person was just leaving whoever they were visiting or something. But then again, what are the odds that the moment that I notice the car, that's the moment that the person leaves? Either way, I finally calmed myself down and just went back to sleep. The next day, a mix of boredom and paranoia got the better of me, and I decided it was time for some investigation. I go to my backyard cul-de-sac to see if there was any trace of the person who was there last night, and there was nothing. I go to my neighbors to see if they had anybody over the other night. Maybe it would just clarify why the fuck somebody would be parked there in the first place. I asked both the owners of the 2 houses on the curves of the cul-de-sac, all of whom said that they didn't have any visitors, and I asked for the numbers and I left. This is when my paranoia really started to kick in a bit. This was a little messed up. I had no clue whether the person was coming back later, and I can't call the police as they won't respond to a complaint that isn't even valid. So I decided to wait until later to see if the person came back. I spent that night just talking with my college friends about it over a video chat, all of whom thought I was either making it up or just freaking out over nothing. I sign off and watch Netflix until it's pretty late. The entire time, I just kept thinking about looking at my window to check, but since my friends had told me that I was worrying about nothing, and also since I'm a bit of a coward, I must admit, I just never checked. Finally, the clock ticked 3:24 a.m., the exact time I woke up the night before, and I thought, fuck it, might as well check to be sure. And this is where I absolutely shit myself. The same exact car was parked, and there was a man in a black hoodie and a ski mask standing right next to it, just staring at my house. I immediately ran to get my phone and dialed my neighbors, none of which answered, mind you. I ran back to the window, only to see that he was now standing in my fucking backyard. This was no longer a burglary attempt, because if it was, he would be looking through my lower house windows trying to break in or something. This had to be some sort of stalker, I thought at this point. I decided fuck this and opened up my window and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Who the fuck are you?" There was no response, so I yelled, "I'm going to call the fucking police, get off my property." And finally, the man spoke. He said, "Have a nice day," in like a cheery way that a cashier at the store would say it when you're leaving. The man waltzed, and I mean literally waltzed like a happy cartoon character, back to his car and just left. Well, obviously, I called the police department immediately. They asked me if I had any friends who were trying to play a prank on me, and I said no. And like I said, though, this town is relatively small and the police did jack shit. They told me that if it happens again, to call them immediately. So, I'm shitting myself right now. It's currently 11 p.m. and God knows if he'll be back tonight. I'm going to be looking out my window all night, just waiting for him, and I'll keep you all in touch if anything happens. Wish me luck. Edit, 12:24 a.m. So, I'm currently staring outside looking out my window, just waiting for the man to come, and I've informed my neighbors about his arrival, and they told me that they're also on the lookout. I must admit that I feel pretty nervous, but at least I have my neighbors helping me out too, right? I just want this to be over, to be honest. 1:24 a.m. Nothing has shown up yet. I got a call from my mum about a half an hour ago, in fact. I haven't told them about any of the shit happening. I just told her that I loved her and hung up on the phone. My friends have been Snapchatting me, though, asking me about this shit, and I said that I'll try to get a picture if I can. If I do, I'll make sure that I send it to you guys too. 1:34 a.m. So, the neighbors said that they see a car parked up the street from them. One of my neighbors, who's in his mid-40s, says that he's going to go check it out. My foot is tapping the floor like crazy now. 1:37 a.m. False alarm. Turns out it was just the car of a family who just got home. Fuck me, though. This suspense is making me feel ill. 1:48 a.m. One of the neighbors says that he's going to sleep for the night. That's not good, but I just hope the rest of them hold out for me until the rest of the night. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fall asleep at all tonight. I mean, I've already chugged 2 cups of coffee and I'm as alert as possible. 2:11 a.m. Hey, I was looking at my window when I heard something in the bushes of my backyard. I couldn't tell whether it was the guy, the wind, or just some stupid animal, so I shined and turned on the light in my backyard and saw nothing. I think this paranoia is starting to get to me. 2:17 a.m. Alright, it's official. I'm losing my shit here. I heard something crash in my kitchen and I ran down to see what was happening. Some pan had fallen off over from the shelf. Nothing notable, but it scared the absolute shit out of me. I went back upstairs to start looking out the window again at one of the streets right off my backyard, which is about 200 yards away, I'd say. Through the trees, I also saw a car at the corner flashing its brights repeatedly and then making a right, driving away from the street leading to my house. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but is this guy taunting me? 2:40 a.m. Hey, so I'm currently at my neighbor's house, just staring into my backyard, the cul-de-sac. I walked out my back door and just sprinted and rang the doorbell as fast as possible. They saw me and opened the door immediately, luckily. It was honestly the scariest shit that I've ever done. I was worried that he was going to pull up any second, in fact. but now I just wait and hope for the best, I guess. 2:51 a.m. So, nothing out of the ordinary has happened, but I am dreading what will happen at 3:24, though. I saw 2 cars pass by my house, though. I couldn't tell if they were the same car as the one the stalker was using, though. Also, I couldn't tell if it was the same car just passing by both ways. Is this guy playing tricks on my mind? I'm ready to dial 911 at any second. I called my parents too and told them what was happening, and they said that they'll be on their way home tomorrow. 3:01 a.m. Yeah, guys, this guy's definitely coming. A car came up the street on the cul-de-sac and started flashing its high beams again and left. He's definitely trying to fuck with my mind. Thank God I left the house, though, because the direction he's going is definitely coming back around to my house. Honestly, I'm pretty scared, and I'm not even in the house anymore. At the moment I even see him outside his car, I'm definitely calling the police. 3:11 a.m. So, my neighbour and I both agreed that we're going to leave the house and drive to the police station as soon as we see him parked near my house. My heart is racing, and I can't believe that I had just waited in my house alone for the past couple of hours. What the hell was I thinking? So, it's 3:20 a.m. now, and still nothing yet. Even if he doesn't come, though, I sure as hell am not going back. I'm not even sure if I'll stay here too. This is the scariest shit that's ever happened to me. 3:25 a.m. Guys, someone is parked in my fucking driveway. I'm getting the fuck out of here right now. I'll try to update you guys on my mobile or later when they arrest this guy, but I'm leaving now. 1:15 p.m. For those of you who are concerned, I'm alive. I went to the police station and I've been questioned, and they're working on finding the guy. But they haven't found him yet, unfortunately, and I went to a hotel and got some sleep, and I just woke up. I'll share more with you guys soon, but right now I'm just taking some time to get this sorted out. Oh, and thanks for the support, everyone. Hey everyone. So, for anyone who's been keeping up with all of this, I'm alive and well, but far from safe. As my neighbour and I were waiting for the coast to be clear, I saw my garage door open at approximately 3:27 a.m, and right then, my neighbour and I just booked it to his car. As we were leaving too, I saw the light turn on in my bathroom, and I nearly threw up realizing how easily he got in and how I'd just been a sitting duck an hour prior. I've been fantasizing over and over of how if I'd stayed in there, my neighbours would have called me telling me that he was in my driveway, and I would have heard my garage door opening, and the dread just knowing that I was absolutely fucked. Once we were in the car, we sped off to the police station, and the police gave me the usual rundown of questions in this type of situation, like whether I knew this man, when and where my first encounter with him was, and whether I could identify his car, or if I managed to write down his license plate. I told them that he had only come 2 times prior, and that both times it was too dark to tell even with the streetlights. But when the man had parked in my driveway, one of my neighbours who had still been on the lookout said that she saw the car was a grey Volkswagen with no license plate. She went on to say, though, that she saw the man type in the code of my garage, go inside and turn on each of my lights, as though he was checking the whole house. The man had stayed there for 5 minutes, according to her, and proceeded to get back into his car without taking anything and just sped off down my street. She notified the police immediately, and they've been searching for him since then. But nothing has come up, and we returned to find that my house had been left relatively unscathed. Oddly enough, though, the police, they didn't even find a trace of DNA. Whoever this man was, he was meticulous as hell, and somehow had gained the knowledge of what my garage code was. It makes me shiver to think that He may have been watching me even as I typed it in earlier in the week, and God only knows what other knowledge he has to track me down. But my parents have yet to still return home from their trip as their plane was delayed, so as of right now, I'm alone and still at the hotel with only a bottle of Jack Daniels to console me. A couple of police cars have been stationed around the area of my house looking for the guy, and they're all waiting upon his arrival. I'm not leaving this hotel until this fucker is caught, I'll tell you that much. And I don't think I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm hoping, though, that this is the night that he finally can't track me. The police have advised me to stop using any form of social media to be indicative of where I am. That means no Snapchat, no Instagram, no Facebook, pretty much nothing. They told me that I can use my laptop as long as I remain as low profile as possible. This means that all I can do is wait for the police to call me and tell me that the stalker has been caught. For now, I'm just going to try and figure out who this guy is and why he might be trying to stalk me. I have a few theories as to who it could be. My first is my 9th grade Italian teacher. So, I went to a private school, and this teacher had basically been one of the biggest lunatics that I had ever met in a schooling system. He was very outspoken in the way that he described politics and very mean-spirited during his time teaching. He would always make fun of students, had sometimes fallen asleep in class, and would always make perverted comments towards girls I knew. So, one day I decided to write an email to the dean asking him to please fire the man from his teaching position and explaining the unacceptable behavior he had while working, that is. It worked, and I never saw the man again. Now, the reason that I think it could be a possibility is because he never particularly liked me in the first place. In fact, I feel as though he kind of singled me out in a lot of instances and picked on me. I don't know if he ever found out that I sent the email, but if he did, I'm extremely worried. I can't tell if it was him or not when he spoke in my backyard, though, as I was in full adrenaline mode while I was screaming at him. I would say, though, that this is not a likely suspect, but I'm just not sure. My second theory is my Christian deacon from back in the 2nd grade. I used to be a part of his church program a while back when I was in elementary school. Out of all the head figures there, one that always stood out to me was Deacon Anthony. He was a middle-aged man, very soft-spoken, and he had always been very particularly nice to me and my friend Kevin too. He would often bring us candy, talk to us about our home life, and treated us more fairly than the rest of the kids. But one day my friend Kevin had told me that Deacon Anthony had asked Kevin if he wanted to go home with him to hang out. Kevin said no to him and told me, and I told my parents about this, and they had immediately contacted the church and told them about it too. And after that, I never saw Deacon Anthony again. My parents told me later that they had contacted the board and he was removed from the church, in fact. If this is the guy, though, he must have had a massive personality shift after that incident, because the way the man happily told me to have a nice day did not match up with the one that he had when I was younger. Theory 3 is my classmate Derek from 8th grade. Derek was one of those insecure types who would always get off to making other people feel small. He was your standard 8th grade middle school shit-eater who deserved nothing but a good ass-whooping, which unfortunately never came. However, what did happen was I had started a rumor about him that I wish I didn't bring up, but it pretty much ruined his reputation and made him a laughingstock. He never found out that it was me, as far as I could tell, but from what I heard from my hometown while I went off to public school is that at our local high school, the rumor hadn't stopped, and he turned into one of those quiet kids who just never talked. Keep in mind, this kid literally had told my whole friend group to stop hanging out with me. So, as far as I can tell, this revenge was extremely justified in my mind. This may in fact be the prime suspect, as he would most likely know where I live too. I tried finding any sort of social media about him, but nothing came up. This guy is pretty much a ghost, and I have no idea what he's been up to all these years. Theory 4 is some complete stranger who I have no association with. Maybe this is just a genuine old-school stalker who takes pride in picking out their prey from a random crowd. No one I have seen in this town for the past week has seemed particularly odd, though. The only one that comes to mind, though, was this weird cashier at a 7-Eleven who seemed particularly in love with his job. He may have some form of Asperger's syndrome, or just maybe he just takes pride in being a cashier, but he was always very polite with his customers, and when he'd been interacting with me at least. I'd gone in to get a soda from the fountain, and as the store was empty, he asked me, "Hey, is that all you're getting?" And I said, "Yeah, this is all," and he continued with, "Oh, well, congratulations, it's free." I thought, well, sweet, a free soda? This guy's the shit, and I thanked him a ton as he was smoking a cigarette outside and said, "Have a good one," and left. Now, I know what all of you must be thinking. This is definitely the guy. He's a fucking cashier, for crying out loud. Well, I'm just not sure. This guy was probably in his 30s, seemed extremely grateful for his low-end job, and just seemed content with what he had. He didn't strike me as a stalker, but then again, I haven't been back to the store since, so he may still be there, or he may not be there at all. I guess time will tell. I might stop by there tomorrow and do a little more investigating. As we speak, it's 11 p.m. again, and I'm staring at my hotel window, just scrolling through Reddit. I'm still dreading the moment that I see the car with the flashing high beams pulling into the parking lot, so I'll probably just be looking out my window all night again. I'll post more updates if necessary, and I appreciate you guys, but bye for now. So, I've been reading through all your comments, guys, and just so you guys know, I can't get a hold of a gun as easily as most of you think. I live in a state where that shit just doesn't fly, and the best that I have right now is pepper spray and a baseball bat. 1:37 a.m. They call me a lunatic, but I left my room to get some fresh air, and I just couldn't stand being in this small-ass hotel room one more second. I was bugging out like crazy, though, and every person I saw seemed like a threat to me, and I started talking with this one guy in the hotel lobby. He says he's been traveling from state to state on some sort of a self-indulged journey across the country or something. I asked him if he has any experiences with stalkers, and he told me that he'd been receiving anonymous calls a couple of years back from some guy. I asked if he had ever encountered one in his backyard or anything, and he just kind of looked at me funny. I explained to him the situation, and he wished me the best of luck, and it was nothing out of the ordinary, but it was nice to have some real human interaction while I'm losing my fucking mind. 1:46 a.m. Alright, one of the janitors must be fucking with me, because I spent the last minute searching for my phone and asked someone outside my room to call it for me, and I listened for the ringing, and it's in the fucking safe. And the password is not the one that they gave me. What the fuck? This is fucking weird, man, but whoever's doing this is going to get torn a new one, I'll tell you that much. I'm going to the manager right now, and I've got to get this sorted. 2:08 a.m. So, I'm demanding a different room, guys. I'm not staying in that same fucking room one more second. The whole staff is in there now trying to figure out the safe password. Meanwhile, the manager is looking for the janitors who have been in my room to ask what the fuck they were thinking. Fuck this, though. I'm tired and I'm worried, and now I just lost my fucking phone. Fuck. 2:24 a.m. No, guys, it's not the garage code, guys. I checked that. Even if it was, I mean, why would it be? And how would the fucking stalker even get into my hotel room, let alone rewire my safe? But guys, I'm not leaving the hotel, okay? I already paid the money to stay here, and I don't have any other place to go that's not 100 miles away. I have no car, and I got here in an Uber car, and At least here there's over 100 people staying here, so that's good. I mean, the stalker's not going to come into a hotel full of people, right? 2:40 a.m. I'm sitting in my hotel room all alone with no phone, no way to call an Uber, no way to call the police, and I'm starting to think that one of the janitors got bribed to do this or something. I now not only have no way of driving away from here, but I have no way of contacting any family or anyone for that matter of getting me away from the hotel. I'm going to wait for another 45 minutes, and if they don't open the safe, I'm demanding that they call an Uber for me, and I'm just driving the hell out of here. 2:53 a.m. Someone just knocked on the door saying the safe is open, and I told them all right, and then they asked me to come and get it. I asked him if he could slip it under the door, but he said that I need to go and get it myself. I told him that I would in a couple of minutes and that he'd be waiting, but I'm starting to get a little bit paranoid here, guys. 3:10 a.m. So the man said that my phone is in the main lobby if I want it, and I'm on my laptop next to my window, and I could have sworn out of the corner of my eye that I saw a car flashing its high beams again. I don't know if I should hold out till morning or get my phone and just leave. What do you guys think? 3:14 a.m. Guys, I'm not waiting until 3:24 for this guy to fucking come into my room and jump me. I'm packing and I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. I'll keep you guys posted on mobile when I get my phone back. 3:16 p.m. Alright guys, I'm staying at a friend's place for right now. Just to clarify, when I said not a trace of DNA was found too, I meant that there was nothing that was found to trace this guy back. Like a glove or fingerprints on the garage keypad or anything. The police did not do a full investigation, obviously. The guy still hasn't been found too, and my neighbors have told me that no one's been back to my house, and my parents are currently staying at my aunt's down south. I got my phone back too, and there was a missed call from some guy named Nick Sullivan. What's strange is his name was never put into my contacts though. I've never met anybody named Nick Sullivan in my life, and I don't know how it's in there. I tried calling back, and it just went to voicemail. Creepy shit nonetheless, but maybe I'm just being a bit paranoid. I don't know. I'll see if I can make another update tonight, but I gotta go for now. I'll talk to you soon. 4:35 p.m. So the guy who called my phone wasn't the same guy as Nick Sullivan that I'd missed a call from. I don't know what the hell is going on, but this is weird, man. Hey again, guys. So, as I got in the Uber, the driver had been waiting for me to come out, and I got in his car. I nearly shit myself as he turned on his car to find that the car, the one directly across from it, in the parking lot, was a grey Volkswagen. I couldn't tell if this was the same one from the night before because, well, A, this one had a license plate, and B, I never had gotten a good look at it up close before, so it could just be another person's car. As we were leaving, though, I looked up to the hotel, and in one of the rooms there was clearly a figure looking out the window. I'm not jumping to any conclusions right now as to whether it was him. I'm not sure if it was even the same room as mine. I just keep questioning myself at this point as to whether all of this shit is real or just paranoia. But maybe the guy actually did find me and I was about to be slaughtered, maimed, or worse. Or maybe this just is a classic case of schizophrenia or something, and I'm just finding ways to freak myself out. One thing that is for sure, though, is that the guy is definitely still hunting me. I got a text from Mr. Sullivan, or Nick, or whatever the fuck he wants to call himself, and I'm still petrified after seeing it. At exactly 8:34 p.m. today, he sent me a video, and the only other thing that he said in the text was, "I see you." And the video, I'm positively sure, is my house. And now I want to know when the video was taken. It probably was not taken last night, as police were all watching my house. So that means that he either took it the first 2 nights or as recent as today, and I'm really hoping that it's the latter. If he took it today, that means that he probably still thinks that I'm staying there. Unfortunately, though, this guy seems far from stupid, and if he has stalked me enough to know my garage code, he most certainly must have noticed that I'm no longer coming back there. Either way, he's trying to terrorize me, and he's probably trying to get me to flee my house for his perfect moment to strike. In some twisted way, I expected worse, I guess. I don't know what makes this psychopath tick. Maybe dead animals, maybe dead people, or just seeing his victims crumble under all the stress that he's inflicted on them. What I am dreading, though, is if he actually manages to find me at my friend's place. This guy, Tom, took up the mantle of protecting me, and if this guy manages to find me, I'll never forgive myself for putting this on him. I offered him money, but he refused. So, for the past 2 hours, we've just been doing nothing but drinking beer and playing video games to calm my nerves. Tom is a bit of a hick, I would say. He loves dipping, sitting on his front porch drinking beer, and he has a pretty large collection of guns. Probably the best friend to have in a situation like this, if I'm being honest. Just as you guys have been nagging me to get a hold of, too. So, all in all right now, I'm feeling the most secure I've felt out of all the days since this shit started. I have informed the police about my situation too in the video, and they told me that they hadn't seen a car parked near my house at all in the past day. I gave them the number, and they told me that they'll do their best to try and triangulate its position. So, it's getting late now too, and my friend and I have decided that we need to start securing the place in case of intruders. His house has security alarms, and he lives on a relatively busy street, so no one can just park near the house without parking in the driveway, and he's been staying off of official media as I've asked him to for my own safety. The anxiety hasn't stopped, mind you, but this is the first time I've had a friend by my side to help me with this situation, so I must admit that I feel better. He gave me one of his pistols too, and we started shooting in the range in his backyard despite having never shot a gun before. We're currently on his porch, just talking as I share this. I'm really grateful for all of your support, and updates will come, as always, for everybody. I hope you guys have a good night, and hopefully nothing notable will happen for once. And now, I guess we wait. Hey guys, so at approximately 3 in the morning last night, my friend woke me up telling me that I needed to check something out. I immediately grabbed the revolver I'd left on the table next to the couch, and we went to the front porch. In the distance, we could see a car parked all the way down the road. I'd say it was about 300 yards and still visible because of a streetlight. The following was the conversation that I can best remember from me talking to Tom. Yeah, you see that car down there? I was dozing off, and the moment I snapped out of it, the thing just showed up out of nowhere, and it was just sitting there. How long do you think it's been there for? I'm not sure. I saw it there and stared at it for a good 2 minutes. After that, I took my flashlight and started flashing it on and off. After the car shot off, and some guy got out and waved and walked into the woods. There's a wooded area near my buddy's house that, if you walk through it, you can go walk into a large open field in his backyard. There's a fence dividing the field from the backyard, but it can be easily hopped. Well, do you think we should go and check it out? Nah, this guy could be going into the woods and coming back around towards my back door. You have to stay here, and I'll go check it out, okay? Alright, but if it's a grey Volkswagen, we need to leave, okay? I want you to record the license plate too, and look inside for anything notable. Look for things like ropes and knives and duct tape, anything sketchy that we need to get out of here, okay? Yeah, okay, well, just wait inside and defend the house or something, alright? Make sure no one gets inside, okay? I went back into the house and stared out the window as Tom approached the vehicle with his 12-gauge. I went to the back of his house and stared out his backyard window, and I saw some figure start walking across the field. This was particularly strange, as there were no houses visible in this field, and he just seemed like he was walking towards nowhere. He climbed over a hill, and he was no longer in view from the window. I went back to the front window to look at the car, and Tom was checking it out. I felt relieved for the slightest moment, as I felt like maybe, just maybe, I was overreacting. And then his home phone rang. I looked at it and saw the caller ID, and it was my area code, not Tom's. At this point, I had my phone still on airplane mode, so I assumed it was someone from my neighborhood or family trying to contact me. I felt almost intrusive, seeing that I was answering a call to a home that was not even mine, but now was not a time to take chances, so I answered. Hello? Excuse me, who's this?
Oh, excuse me, sir. My apologies. Is this the owner of the household?
No, I'm just a friend of the owner. He's currently outside. Who's this? At this point, I just felt that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you realized that you fucked up. I just revealed that I'm here alone, and whoever is calling just realized that too. Hello?
Who else are you with, sir? Is it just you?
At this point, I was shaking and I could barely speak without stumbling my words. I decided the best thing to do was lie like no tomorrow. No, we're having a party and there's a couple of other people here. Who's calling?
Are you sure about that? I was just walking by and saw that there were only 2 cars in his driveway.
At this point, I completely lose my shit. Listen, man, just fucking tell me who you are and why the fuck you're calling this house so late. Hello? Can you please just fucking tell me?
I apologize, sir. I may have the wrong number. Tell whoever owns this house to call back. Thank you.
And then he hung up. Tom had come back and said that the car was not a Volkswagen and had a license plate. He said that the windows were tinted and the doors were locked, so there was really nothing that he could make out. I told him about the caller, and he said that he had no idea whose number that was. He called back, and no one answered. He also called from a restricted number, but there was no answer there either. An hour passed by as we were sitting on the porch, and we heard an audible slam from his back door. We both looked at each other, and he motioned to follow him around back. We saw nothing out of the ordinary, and we looked around everywhere for footprints, but still nothing. But when we had gone back to the front porch after countless minutes of searching, it was approximately 4 a.m. at that point. It wasn't until 10 minutes after we got back to the porch that we noticed the car 300 yards away was gone, and we hadn't even noticed. I haven't gotten any sleep since last night, and I told him that I wanted to leave his house because I need to keep moving, and he said that he wants to come too. He locked up all his doors, brought some guns, and we drove off at 6 a.m. The police still haven't done jack shit, mind you, despite all the valuable intelligence I gave them too. And I've been on the road all day with my friend now. I drove a lot and he slept in back, and we're currently at a McDonald's as I type this. We were joking, saying that if we do end up getting kidnapped and murdered and attacked, at least someone will know from these videos, right? I'm just tired, guys. Tired of all of this shit and of being stalked. Tired of being hunted down and tired of making these fucking posts. I want this to be over. If anything happens tonight, I'll let you know, but bye for now. I'm sorry to inform you guys, but I think it's about time that we wrap up the show. My parents have returned home, and both the police and my neighbors haven't seen the man ever since I left. I've been on the road for the past few days, and I want to stop running. My parents informed me too that they got a hold of a revolver now, and all I want to do is just go home, sleep in my own bed, and be done with this madness. I'm starting to think that all of this here has just been in my head. I mean, the guy hasn't made any notable appearances in my life since that night, and maybe that video that he sent was just from the first 2 nights that I saw him. I don't know. I guess that's been the real problem ever since the start of this, is that I've just been overreacting to this whole phenomenon, maybe. Maybe this guy is just some deranged burglar. Maybe he came to my house thinking that I was just somebody else. I don't know for sure. But Tom and I have been on and off the road, only stopping to get food or to piss, and a lot of comments have been telling me to either stop using Reddit or to stake it out and confront the man myself. I've come to realize that I've been making a poor choice documenting everything that's happened on Reddit. God only knows if this man has been using it to his advantage. But more importantly, I've been hiding and running away from him all this time. And I thought it was finally time that I confront him myself. Now, I'm not going to make an effort to contact him or find him, but if he decides that he wants to come and attack my house and my family and myself, then he'll finally meet his maker, that's for sure. However, I thought a good start would be to just pay the 7-Eleven guy a visit today, and we decided to confront him. I just needed to be sure that it wasn't him, so we parked in the front of the 7-Eleven at about 8 at night, about 3 hours ago. This is the conversation that we had, to the best of my memory. Hey, is this the guy? Yeah, that's him. Let's just go in and ask him a few questions, okay? We just need to scare him a little and see how he responds. Tom took his pistol from the back seat and put it in his holster. Dude, is that necessary? Look, man, we aren't even sure if this is the guy. I mean, we can't just pull a gun on him and make him shit himself. I'm just taking some precaution is all, and if this is the guy, then we gotta be careful, right? And with that, Tom got out of his car and started walking in as I followed. As soon as we walked in, he asked, "Hey boys, how you doing today?" We both gave him a stern look, so he responded, "Hey guys, what's the sour mood for?" I looked at Tom and he looked back at the cashier and asked, "Lovely day, isn't it?" I could see that the guy was getting visibly nervous and began to sweat a little. "Hey man, I couldn't but notice that gun in your holster. A pretty nice gun, that's a Colt, right? My dad had one of those." We didn't break eye contact. "Yeah, I would say it's a pretty nice day, isn't it? How's your day going? Well?" I went directly in front of the counter and got face to face with him. "Hey, can I ask you something?" I could see the cashier swallowing and he coughed. Yeah, sure. What is it? Do you drive here to work by any chance?" "Oh, negatory. My friend drops me off." I looked at Tom and he looked back at the guy. "You best not be lying to us, man." The cashier broke. "Look, guys, I don't want any trouble. If you're here to rob the place, that doesn't concern me, okay? I'm just a guy who works here, alright? Just take the money and go if that's what you want. We aren't here to rob anything, okay? We're just asking a couple of questions, if that's alright with you." Cashier folded his arms and said, "Sure, ask whatever you need. What's up? When does your shift end?" "Oh, usually around 3 in the morning, I'd say." "What's all this about, boys? Are you guys undercover cops or something? Have you seen a grey Volkswagen in the past couple of nights that you've been working here?" Yeah, actually, I did. The night before you came in here was a guy who came in after you, the other night, I think." "Did he buy anything?" Yeah, he bought some cigarettes, I think, and dipping tobacco. He didn't say much, but he said he had a long night ahead of him." "I take it he gave you ID?" Yeah, he did, actually." "What was his name? Do you remember?" I think it was like Nathan Silverstein or something like that." "You mean Nick Sullivan?" Shit, yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that that's his name. What's it to you, by the way? Can we see your ID for a second? He showed us his ID, and this guy seemed to be completely innocent. Alright, man. Thanks for your time. The police might come later to ask for your camera feed from that night, but I appreciate your help. We left, and that was the end of it. Finally, after all these days of running, we finally got a decent lead on this guy. We called the police, and they're currently going over the tapes, and this was an amazing feeling now that we finally had a good lead on this guy. And I can finally go home. But Tom has been such a good friend the past couple of days. He's stuck with me through thick and thin, and even through rough times. And I'm just eternally grateful for what he's done for me in this time of need. After a long day of travelling, he told me that his girlfriend has been awfully worried about him too, and this made me feel even worse about the situation. Finally, I told him that we needed to part ways and that I wanted him to go home and rest, and that I apologized for putting him in danger. He told me not to sweat it, and that it was actually a pretty exciting experience for him despite it maybe putting our lives in jeopardy. I gave him some money to help him out with his troubles, and he's going to his girlfriend's house, and he said that he'll be staying there for a while until this gets completely sorted out. But no more running, and no more fear, and no more stalking. I'm finally done with this, guys, and I seriously can't wait to go home and see my family and just be safe and sound in my home again. I want to thank you guys for all your support through these past few days. It's really meant a lot. At some point, I got texts from my parents too saying that it was safe to come home. But when I called them, everything sounded normal. However, my mum sounded somewhat worried and flustered about the whole situation when my dad put her on the phone. I asked her what was wrong, and she simply told me I'm under a lot of stress and followed it by, "Just come home please, we miss you." I feel sorry for them if I'm being honest. I don't know why, but I somewhat blame myself for all this shit happening. If they haven't seen the stalker at all, then this must have to do with me and me alone. I must have done something to cause this man to torment my family. As we speak, Tom has left back home, and I'm finishing this last update at Starbucks. I'll call an Uber, and I'll finally be home. If the guy gets caught, I'll link you guys to a news article or something, but this will be the final update. Thank you all in advance for your advice and enthusiasm, and peace, I guess. 12:12 a.m. So, I just came home and there aren't any cars in the driveway. I'm a little worried, and I'm going to call my parents. Alright, no answer from my parents. I guess I'll try the garage code now. Well, my parents must have changed the garage code or something. I'm banging on the door and no one's fucking answering though. And man, it's really cold tonight. 12:21 a.m. Alright, well, there's some lights turning on in my bedroom, so they're obviously home.